Another issue that often comes up is you have systems and integrations that are in place, but the people who originally did those are no longer around and nobody remembers what happened or why they were done. Why did we set up the integration with our WMS this way? Why are we getting the data, from our ERP in these fields and not the other? How are these data fields getting pieced together that are going to ultimately come into the TMS? So there, again, a lot of unknown because it could have been years, and people who were like I said, who were there are now gone. Um, Change, and then just get into a little bit more of the people's side of the thing. Change is hard. You're not just changing a piece of software that's being used. And when you're going through that change, people can have the feeling that, again, it's not that I just have to use a different piece of software. It's how is my job going to change, right? And it's not necessarily that people are afraid of losing their job. Which, there is some of that, but that's often not the case. It's I'm going from a job where I am the expert and I know what I'm doing and I know how to operate the software, and I've been doing it this way for a year, and now I'm going to move to a new thing where I am no longer the expert. There's a lot of unknown. I'm afraid I won't know how to do my job as well, and that sort of thing. So those, from a people's perspective, that's one of, often a big thing that we have to deal with, just from, the people who are on the front lines actually going to be using the software. Another thing sort of along that line is there's often a lot of tribal knowledge that people have in their heads. And, you know, frankly, there are some times where it's hard to get that out of people, again, because they just have either a, for one reason or another, they either don't really realize what's in their head. They just sort of, oh, well, I know that. They don't want to give it up, again, for fear of, losing some kind of control on their job. Or it's just, frankly, it's not documented. I know that Bob does something, but I don't know what he does or why he does that. And it's hard when you're doing an implementation and trying to get the software to, optimize and, save time and money to get all those pieces of information, out in the open and shared so that the proper decisions can be made. I guess probably the final one, there can be some, misunderstandings or misaligned goals between different groups of what the reason is that we're going with, this particular TMS. IT may have one goal of, hey, great, we have, this new system, we can redo our integrations, right? Because we've got some old stuff laying around that we want to redo. Ops may have, their set of goals. Well, great, I want to be able to do some new things with my job, not realizing that, often doing new things requires integration changes. Well, IT doesn't want to, may not want to do a bunch of new integration work in order to support those types of things. So it's important to get on the same page, I say from the beginning. And to me, that the beginning is often, during the sales cycle, not at the start of implementation. So, again, those are just sort of some of the challenges, and as we, we'll move into some, things of what that looks like in order for success criteria. One of my coworkers, a lot smarter than me, likes to say, software will only get you so far. It's, the people and the ability to implement that will actually get you, to the finish line or where you ultimately want to be from a, a ROI perspective.